church that brings me closer to my Savior. A little bit of heaven, a whole lot of love. Left behind.
Well, good morning and welcome to Rise and Shine, Franklin County. We don't have anything shining out there this morning, just us. And we're shining here. I'm Joyce Gordon. I'm delighted to be your host this morning. And we've got some guests on to tell us about things that are coming up. We always have so much going on in Franklin County that no reason to go out of Franklin County to get your entertainment or whatever. We've got it right here in Franklin County. So I'm going to let my guest introduce herself, and we're going to talk about some things that's going on up at Phoebe Needles.
Yeah, thank you, Joyce. Thank you for having me back.
Oh, it's a pleasure, always.
Yeah. My name is Inga Terrell, and I'm with Phoebe Needles Center. I'm the executive director. I've been there a little over a year now.
I think you were here when you freshly came to Phoebe Needles.
I came with Bob.
Yeah.
He was handing me over.
Well, we're glad that he did. We're glad you come
Yes.
to tell us about. A lot of people don't know about Phoebe Needles or where to find it. We found it. We got a nice tour up there when we were looking for you the first time.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that's coming up. So tell us what we got coming up this next week.
Well, I think this month we have two really exciting things we're really proud of, and hope the weather participates. But next Tuesday, we have a Center for Lifelong Learning program, which happens on the second Tuesday of every month. And this one is called Scary Things, Halloween, Spooky Stories, and Censorship. So we have two professors from Ferrum College, Dr. Tina Hanlon and Dr. Alana Whited, who are coming to talk about scary stories. And there's this trend growing in the United States, and I guess it has been already for a few years, of adults wanting to read youth stories. You know, things like Harry Potter, for example, were not only enjoyed by young people, but also adults. And so this is a trend that's growing, and they're going to be talking about that, but they're also going to be talking about censorship, which is an interesting theme. And they're also going to have a guest speaker of their own come. One of the Ferrum College students is going to present a piece and actually read it to us. So that's kind of a special surprise inside of this. And then now that we've had a chef working at at Phoebe Needles, she'll be producing a really wonderful luncheon to go with it. So it's called a Scary Things Luncheon Menu with witch's brew soup, creepy cauliflower mash, jack-o'-lantern stuffed peppers, bloody beet salad, and graveyard dirt parfaits.
Wow, yum. It does sound good, even though it's a little scary.
It is kind of creepy sounding, isn't it? But Chef Sue does a really, really good job. We are very happy to have her. She's been with Phoebe Needles actually for over 30 years as a camp parent, and then as a camp grandparent, and then she's had a lot of foster kids over the years. So she started working for us back in March, doing the Center for Lifelong Learning. We've started our catering business back up. So that had stopped because of COVID. So now when people rent at Phoebe Needles Center, we can offer them catering if they want.
Okay, so now how much is this? What's this cost?
So let's see. It is, if you are a member of the Center for Lifelong Learning, which you don't have to be, if you are a member, it's $12 to attend. If a non-member comes, which is, we love new people, that's $20. It starts at 9:30 in the morning with a light breakfast and about a half an hour of fellowship time. And then at 10 o'clock is when the presentation starts. It goes for about 45 minutes, then there's a break. Then we have another 45 minutes of the presentation. It continues. And then at noon is when the luncheon is served. So by the time folks are finishing up between 12:30 and 1, they've been there for about 3 or 3.5 hours. So it's a really wonderful event with multiple things happening. So it's more than just the presentation or the meal. It's a combination of all that and time for people to catch up with each other.
I've seen these ladies act in the plays at Ferrum College, and they are fabulous. So I'm sure they're going to do a great job with
Yes.
this presentation. So it is $12 if you are a member
Yep.
and $20 for non-members.
Right.
Okay, and this includes your lunch. So these
Mhm.
you will have these scary things on your plate. It all sounds good to me. Split pea soup with mozzarella eyeballs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is
And it's healthy. I mean, Sue does a really good job of providing healthy foods. And what we're doing is we're pairing the lunch menu with the topic.
right.
So a few months ago, the topic was wild mushrooms. And we did not prepare wild mushrooms, but the whole meal was a feast of mushrooms, including this chocolate mousse as the dessert that was made out of mushrooms, which you couldn't tell. And it was the most divine
Really?
chocolate mousse I've ever had. It just melted in your mouth, and people were dying for the recipe afterwards. They kept saying, please give us the recipe. It was really good.
When you talk about people dying and eating mushrooms,
For mushrooms. Yeah, that was good. That was a joke.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Well,
mhm.
I have a joke about that. This lady was going to have a dinner party, and she was out working in the yard, getting everything just pristine for her guests that was coming the next day. And she found these mushrooms, and she thought, I think I'll have those for an appetizer. I'll make stuffed mushrooms. And then she got a little leery, and she's like, I've never cooked those mushrooms before. So she gave one to the dog to test it on him to see if it was okay. So the next day at her party, they're eating their mushrooms and enjoying them. And all of a sudden, her maid comes running and, oh, ma'am, the dog is dead. So she tells her maid, go to the hospital and have your stomach pumped. So they all take off for the hospital and get their stomach pumped. Then the maid comes in and says, ma'am, I got the license plate number of the man that killed the dog. So then all these ladies had broken up her party and gone to the hospital to be stomach pumped. It wasn't the mushrooms after all. Then I just had to throw that
That's
in there.
good.
She was
I
talking
like
about
it.
mushrooms.
Yeah.
That's one joke I can tell on here.
Thank you.
Some of my
I love
jokes I
it.
cut
Yeah,
out.
you've got good jokes. I enjoyed it.
And I have started making stuffed mushrooms, and they are quite delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we'll have that just for a meal. But this is exciting. Okay, now if someone wants to come to this, they need to register by this coming Friday,
Yes.
because your chef needs to know how many names she needs to put in the pot, how many she's got to prepare for. Now, how does someone go about registering for this?
So the best way would be to go on our website and look under programs, and then there's Center for Lifelong Learning.
Okay,
And it will say register here.
so the website is,
It's phoebeneedles.org.
and it's PHOEBE.
Yes.
Needles, spell it out, no spaces.
Yes, DLES. So Phoebe Needles, all one word,
Okay,
.org. And it's a fairly extensive website. So at the top, you would click on programs, and then there's a drop down, and then click on Center for Lifelong Learning. And it shows this picture of what the month's presentation is, and then there's a register
Okay.
button to go to.
so anybody out there that's interested in these scary things, or if you're really into Halloween, they scare me. So I would love to see these ladies do this. But
Yeah, they're
anyway, you've
great.
got to register by Friday, October the 4th, and it's $12 for a member, $20 for a non-member. Let's talk about, we talk about on here being a member at Phoebe Needles. How do you join? We've
Well-
never told anybody.
Okay. Probably the best thing to do is to call our office, honestly. Stacy Sink, our office manager, does a really good job of explaining what the whole membership is, how
Okay.
it's prorated, and then what the membership is. And then we also would give them like the list of all of the programs for the year. So we're working on the 2025 program right now, trying to line up all 12 months of presentations within the next month and a half or so. So we've got some really interesting presentations we're going to line up for 2025. I won't spill the beans
Oh,
right
no,
now.
we'll keep that under our hat.
Right, I'll have to come back and tell you more about that later.
Absolutely.
But the topics vary each month. So I mentioned the mushroom one. We've also had botanical discoveries of the Appalachians. We had one about green burial. We talked about leveraging neuroscience and how the brain works and what we can do to help our brain, especially in our later years. And all kinds of wonderful things. And the December one is always a beloved one where we have a special Phoebe Christmas program where there's music and then singing along with Christmas carols and other things that is really nice. And
Well, that sounds fun.
yeah, it always is.
Well, how many do you have that are members of Phoebe Needles?
Oh my.
Just a rough estimate.
I want to say maybe 50.
Okay,
Not all of them can attend regularly.
right.
But sometimes it's a friend and they get several people to come from church and then they, a car load of people will come, or it's couples, husband and wife that attend regularly. A lot of times people that come, they don't see their friends at other times. So it's kind of a
Right.
nice fellowship time for people.
Okay,
So it kind of ebbs and flows and it depends on what the program is and people's interests. We
Right.
try to give a variety so that people do have choices
okay.
throughout the year.
Well, that's good to know. Now, so we have something else coming up.
Yeah, I want to say one more thing. We are looking for sponsorships for the Center for Lifelong Learning. And one of the great things that came out of the Franklin County Senior Expo for us when we were there was we got our first sponsorship for CLL. So it was this beautiful lady with Wills on Wheels.
Okay,
So Sarah Bidwell with Wills on Wheels sponsored the Center for Lifelong Learning. That was our first sponsorship. So she gave us $300 to help with programming, and we're very excited to have her as a partner.
wonderful. Well, lots of things come out of that senior expo. That was a wonderful
Oh,
experience.
it was.
It's so nice you popped around the corner, and I knew a lot of people I didn't know, but a lady came in, she said, I want something to do, I want to be a Lions Club member. And I'm like, I have an application right here. And then we gave away a room to anybody that became a member that day.
Nice.
So we have our meeting a week from tomorrow, and we'll vote her in, and I'll call her, and she'll come. We'll treat her to dinner. So anyway, we're growing with some younger people. I keep saying we got to have younger people to
Mhm.
carry on. Our Lions Club just turned 100 years old this year, but we got to have younger people to carry that on.
Right.
Not
Yes.
going to be around forever.
And people are coming up in the ranks, but I think COVID has kind of put things off. There was a pause, and we're trying
And
to.
COVID's out
get
there
back. I
again.
know, it keeps circling back around,
Well,
right?
they say it's just a cold germ, what we used to call bad cold.
Mhm.
It's COVID. I mean, I had it about a month ago, and
Oh.
and I've had it 3 times, and every time it's been different.
Mhm.
The way it affects you. So I'm glad not to have it anymore.
Yes.
All right, so we have an event coming up
Ooh,
on
yes.
October the 20th.
We do. This is our second annual Phoebe Needles Glory Days Fall Festival. So it's designed to be a family fun event, to have kind of an old timey atmosphere to it, and food court. So it's a free event. We really want people to know it doesn't cost anything to attend. Where we're hoping to make the money to help with our adult and youth programs is by selling food at the food court and the bake sale and some raffle tickets for a wonderful item that I should be picking up maybe tomorrow. So I'll see exactly what that is, but I think it'll be a really nice handmade piece of furniture, some type of
Ooh.
decorative coffee table or specialty table of some sort that's going to be donated. That's going to be really nice.
Because it was a quilt last year, wasn't it?
The quilts are actually donated to us in late fall, and then we raffle off tickets all through the winter, and then that is
Okay.
unveiled at our spring gathering.
Okay.
So the spring gathering has been going on for, I think, 16 years. And this fall festival is kind of new to us. This is only the second time we're doing it, but it's an annual event now. So we have a spring fundraiser and then a fall fundraiser. And the idea also is to have a children's component to this, because when our campers come during the summer, we fall in love with them. And then summer camp is over with and it's quiet and we're like, where is everybody? Where are those kids we fell in love with? So the spring gathering and the fall festival is the time to call our fall, campers to come back and participate in what we call the Kids Zone, where we have a bouncy house, we have face painting, some tie-dyeing and games for them to play and things like that. But then there's also the parent and the adult parts of the program, which is the music. There'll be storytelling. So I think because Phoebe Needles is 123 years old,
Wow.
If those walls could talk, there'd be
Oh.
all kinds of stories. And so there'll be at least a half an hour, we're hoping, of storytelling. We may be able to find some more storytellers for later in the afternoon. The event is running from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And storytelling is definitely a part of that. So stories about Phoebe Needles, about the area. There's so many rich stories that come out of Franklin County and out of the Appalachian Mountains, actually. So we're looking forward to that. So the music that is going to be played there is by a trio, Jared Boyd, Margot McSweeney, and Racelyn Brabson. So they are performers on their own independently or with other bands. So they're coming together. I have a wonderful picture of them here where they were performing together at the Floyd Country Store. So they're regulars there, but they're also performers that enter contests around the area. So Jared comes from a long history of musicians in the in the Callaway and Ferrum area. So he was part of the Dry Hill, it's a continuation of the Dry Hill Draggers. I think his grandfather performed in that. He's also part of, Jared is also part of the Twin Creek String Band, which has a good following. And it's kind of throwdown dance music that is really well known for that part of Franklin County and into the mountains as well. So Jared is known for his claw hammer banjo playing. He has won Best All-Around Performer at the Galax Fiddlers Convention. He's also a Crooked Road Artist in Residence, and he's very well known. And Margot is a young woman from Floyd who plays fiddle, banjo, and guitar. She sings and she also dances, and she won first place in youth dance at the Mount Airy Fiddlers Convention this year. And I was watching some of her YouTube videos last night to kind of get a sense for who she is, and she is a wonderful performer, and she's part of the handmade music school that's at the Floyd Country Store. And then Racelyn Brabson is an old-time musician from Franklin County. He began playing percussion and guitar in local bands and picked up his grandfather's fiddle 3 years ago. And is a wonderful fiddle player. So the three of them, we're really, really looking forward to having them come.
Sounds like it's going to be a foot stomping good
Yes,
time.
it will.
Knee
It'll be-
clapping.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. People will not be able to sit still during that.
I love it.
And we're hoping that they will be playing, because there's 4 hours there altogether, but they'll be playing from 2:30 to 3:15. Then we'll have a break for about a half an hour with storytelling, and then they'll be playing again from 3:45 to 4:30. Afterwards, we'll have a cakewalk and a pie eating contest. There's all kinds of fun stuff we're going to have at this
You know,
event.
is you going to have a bake-off contest?
Yes, we are.
So tell me a little bit about that.
So there are 3 different categories. It'll be, I think it's cakes, pies, and cookies, but they all have to have some kind of a fall theme to them, either be made with fall spices or apples, pumpkin, or be decorated in fall themes, and then they'll be tasted by judges, and then we'll pick a best of in each of those 3 categories.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think a carrot cake could be decorated fallish.
absolutely. Orange icing.
Well, cream cheese.
The cream cheese orange, I love.
little
That's one of my
carrots
favorite
on top.
cakes. I used to ask for that when I was, for my birthday, my mom would say, what do you want? What kind of cake do you want, Inge, for your birthday? And so I would usually say chocolate with fudge icing, but then there were times when I just had to have carrot cake for my birthday.
Have you ever had hummingbird cake?
I have no idea what that is.
Well, it's bananas and pineapple and pecans. And I had 3 bananas last week, and I was going to make one, but I thought, but if I make it, I'm going to eat it. So bananas kind of went. Usually I make banana bread with them, and I just wasn't in the mood. And you know, if you're not in the mood to bake, it's not going to turn out.
Well, that's true.
If you really don't want to do it, and
And then it's not made with
found
love.
that.
It's better
That's
when
right.
it's made with love.
This is true. And I was thinking the other day, I have so much, I have a friend that I make fruit, called Franklin Nut Cakes. And it's a fruit cake, but it has just the good stuff in it, like the cherries and pineapple and white raisins and pecans. Doesn't have the citrus in it. And one year I made one for a friend that had cancer, and he said, I've got to have another one. Well, you couldn't find any of that fruit here in Franklin County anywhere. So a friend of mine in Lynchburg went out scouting around and bought me $55 worth of candied fruit. Well, I used all that, but then I came upon a sale after Christmas and restocked my.
There
I
you
thought,
go.
the more those fruitcakes sit, the better they are. So
True.
this is October, and I got in. I'm retired now, so I have
Well,
time to bake.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
1st of July. Yep, after 22 years. So I'm thinking, I think I'm going to go on and make a fruitcake. And a lot of people will put brandy or whatever on them.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had luck with that. I
Oh.
don't have luck with that, but they're so good, just normal,
Mm-hmm.
that I don't need to put anything on it. So I think I'll go on and make one and put it in a box and just let it sit. And then by Christmas, it'll be really
Be
good.
ready to go. That sounds good.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about. We're going to have music. We're going to have dancing, storytelling,
Mhm.
door prizes,
Yes.
raffles,
Yes.
cakewalk.
Yes. So that's kind of old timey. One of our board members was really wanting to have that be a part of it. And I've never participated in one of those. So it's going to be a learning experience for me, but it sounds a lot like a
Years
lot of fun.
ago, I can remember when I lived in Glen Wilton, Virginia, we would have a Halloween party at school and they would have a cakewalk. Now, honey, it's been 70-some years ago. I don't remember how they did it either, but somebody I'm sure knows.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to have a cakewalk. We have
Yes.
pie eating contest.
Yes.
Kids zone with bouncy house, games, face painting, tie-dyeing booth. Now, do you provide the shirt or would they need to bring a shirt?
Well, they can buy a t-shirt from us. They can also do a bandana or a pair of socks.
Okay,
We're going to give them options.
okay. Then you're going to have a photo booth, facility tour, guided nature hike, silent auction. Now, these are, I know last year you brought a few things with you, things that were on the silent auction.
So with the spring gathering, which is the April fundraiser that we have, we do a bigger silent auction where we gather donations from all around the area. So this time, the silent auction is really going to be showcasing what Phoebe Needles has to offer.
Okay,
So we'll have, for example, a gift certificate that people can bid on that'll be for a swimming pool birthday party kind of celebration. It'll also have a week of day camp. Or another certificate will be a week of residential camp. And a rental of our beautiful Macaulay Community Center. So it'll be,
Okay.
the silent auction will be showcasing what we have to offer.
that's good to know.
Mhm.
And this will be a camp staff homecoming also.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Well, we've been doing summer camps for over 40 years, which is a long time. So there's a lot of staff there that we want to pull them back in because they have great stories to share. And again, I want to build the storytelling component of Phoebe Needles Center because of the rich history that's been there for so many years.
All right, so we're going to the fall themed bake off contest.
Yep.
And People's Choice Chow Chow contest for
Yes.
prizes. I used to make chow chow, and since it's just me, I don't make it anymore. But I did win second place in the ag fair with my pickles, but they didn't taste them. They just judged them by looks.
What's the fun of that?
Well, they were afraid they didn't know some canned items may not have been canned properly.
Oh,
you know.
okay.
But with a pickle, you can't hardly go wrong because
Yeah.
with the vinegar, the bacteria is not going to grow.
And we're going to have pinto beans and cornbread, and people have said they like to put chow chow on the pinto beans. So that's part of the old timey part of
Yep,
it as
diced
well.
onion.
Oh, and yes, definitely onion. And we'll also have hamburgers and hot dogs for sale for people that don't like, and pots of chili. So we're looking for donations of chili that'll go with the cornbread. So that'll be another offering at the food court.
So anybody that would like to donate chili
Mhm.
or pinto beans,
Yep.
if you think you have prize-winning chili, well, and we want to taste it. So
Yeah.
donate a pot or a pot of pinto
Right.
beans.
Yes,
Nothing better than a good old pot of pinto beans.
yes.
I think I may cook some
Especially in the
myself.
fall. And then we also have cornhole games out there. A lot of people like to do that. That's kind of a all ages game that can be done. And we have hiking trails too. So people can just kind of take a gander off in the woods. There's a bigger outer loop and some inner trails and a beautiful area for sitting, prayer, and meditation. It's Stations of the Cross. That is a really beautiful part of the woods that was put together, I'm not sure how many years ago, by some Eagle Scouts.
Cool.
Did a really wonderful job.
All right. Well, this is fun going on up at Phoebe Needles. You've got time to go to church,
Yes,
and you can come here even and have lunch.
yes, can be a
'Cause
late
you got-
lunch or
yep.
dinner. Because it'll
it's
be
gonna-
going on till 6.
Right, from 2 to 6,
Mhm.
and all of these things. What fun.
Yes.
So I'm thinking of a couple of things that I need to at least bake a cake and have it. Oh, I've entered cakes in a couple of contests, and one cake I entered back when I was running for office, and one of the guys that judged it was running against me.
Mhm.
Well, it was a pumpkin cake. That's good with cream cheese frosting.
Yes.
Oh, I have a
yeah.
good recipe for that too.
Mhm.
Hmm,
Oh, boy. It
I-
surprises.
really. Um, So I made a pumpkin cake with cream cheese frosting. It did not win, but then I made one for a party I was having after I was either going to celebrate on one or my birthday's in November. I was going to celebrate
Oh,
my
good.
birthday. So this other person that was running against me tasted that cake. Oh, how delicious it was. It was his favorite. And I'm like, well, it wasn't your favorite when you were judging the contest. So, oh well, but it is good.
Yeah, we'll have at least 3 or 4 judges that will be judging the cakes and the bake-off part of it. And the chow chow will be people's choice. So we'll have little dishes that people can try, just a little spoonful of it, and let the people decide which one of the chow chows they
My aunt
prefer.
used to make, she took red peppers and green peppers and onions and made a relish to put in pinto beans. It was delicious. Usually chow chow will have cabbage and onions and maybe peppers and maybe green
Okay.
tomatoes. I don't even know if you could find a green tomato this time of year. Maybe at the end of the
Depends on
season.
the store. Yeah, some stores actually
Well,
do
and
that.
maybe at the farmer's market.
That's possible, yeah.
You know what's also good is fried green tomatoes.
I know. Have you ever done a fried green tomato BLT?
No.
I've heard those are really, really good.
My daughter's father-in-law he made the best fried green tomatoes. I never had one. And he soaked those green tomatoes in a salt brine to draw some of the moisture out. And then he rolled them in cornmeal and something, and then deep fat fry them. Oh, my stars and garters. They were delicious. Now, I've had other fried green tomatoes that they needed some help.
But yeah,
Because you don't want them to get mushy. And I
right.
think soaking them in that salt water, maybe that's something
make
in
'em
the
crispy.
future you could
I'm
find
gonna
somebody
have
that
to
does.
experiment with that.
Yeah.
I do love
That
fried
would be
green
good.
tomatoes.
Okay.
Let's see,
Well,
did we
this is
cover all of
exciting,
that?
Inga.
Yeah, and we are also looking for sponsors for the event.
Okay.
We have a Phoebe Diamond level, which is $700 to sponsor the event, or Phoebe Gold at $600, and a music sponsor at $500. And those 3 categories, the people that make these sponsorships will get free meal tickets. For example, Phoebe Diamond at $700 gives you 4 free meal tickets to go through the food court. It also gives you $200 off of any rental at Phoebe Needle Center. So there's some, and then advertisements, obviously. And then the Phoebe Gold at $600 will give you $100 off of rental, as well as 3 free meal tickets. Music sponsor will give you $50 off of rental at Phoebe and 2 free meal tickets. And then we've got a food court sponsorship at $400, Kids Zone sponsorship at $300, and then donors $300 or less, and they'll all be acknowledged and very much appreciated. And again, the money for this festival will go towards our youth and adult programs, which we're very proud of, and that's part of our community outreach, are those programs. And what else did I want to say? Oh, just some highlights from our summer camp, because I haven't been here since summer camp happened. So this summer, we served 332 campers
Wow.
over 6 weeks, 5 weeks of day camps, and 6 weeks of residential camps. And it was a very hot summer, I'll just have to say. Yeah, we had a hot, dry summer, didn't we?
Yes.
It was pretty amazing. But we gave out over $11,000 in camp scholarships. And we also gave out about another $10,000 in other forms of financial aid. And this is to help underserved families in the area, because we are in Appalachia, we are in Callaway area. People need financial help, especially their single family, single parent families. All of this, there's a reason, and the economy and how expensive food, and just every time, there's sticker shock every time I go to the grocery store, every single time.
I can fill up the little part in the buggy. I like to get a big buggy because it will hold my cane. my oncologist, she says, "Do you walk much?" And I'm like, "Well, no." So that Friday, went to the grocery store, did not get a motorized buggy, got a push cart, put my cane in it, and I went up and down every aisle. It's the most expensive walk I ever took. It cost me $109 because I saw things I had not been able to
Just a
get
few
to.
things,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And then
know.
you can fill up that little thing at the top and it'll be $60.
Yeah,
And you think, what did I buy?
right. It's heartbreaking how
Well, it's
much.
so good that you have that program that you
Yeah.
can help those in need. That's
Yeah.
wonderful to know. We had the girls from social services in last week telling about programs that they have
Mhm.
to help people, like with their heating or cooling in the summer. And then there's people they can go to
Program, which is a year-long program, and part of that is to do projects to help the community. So some of us are working on putting together a nonprofit directory to help lead people to these programs and things that are available that often aren't heard about.
That's right.
Until you're in the thick of it. And sometimes when you're in the thick of it, it's hard to think straight. Like somebody in your family has passed away, the income earner is gone. I know this because my family has gone through it. There was a year before my husband passed away that we didn't have much of an income at all. And a food bank fed us for a year. It helped us feed a family of 4. And those services actually did help us a lot. So I'm glad they're out there. I'm glad they're available for people. But like you said, often people don't know about it.
That's right.
So word of mouth goes a long way. Community-minded centers, we're happy to help guide people as much as we can. And yeah, Phoebe Needles, like I said, it's been operating and helping the community for over 120 years. So that's something that we're really proud of and
That is
want it to
wonderful.
continue for another 120 plus
Well,
years.
To me, I mean, I had heard of Phoebe Needles. I even made a cake and cupcakes for a group or a bride and groom that had the reception up there years ago. But I never knew that Phoebe Needles did all these things. I knew it was there, but I didn't know much about it until you started coming on the program. So I'm just delighted that we can share this with our viewers so that they can get in on what's going on.
And it's just a beautiful place to come and hang out. Honestly, like the big wraparound porch on our main building has beautiful views, and the whole place was built on love and community outreach for so many years. It has that vibe when you're there. You just want to relax and take in the atmosphere and enjoy. And who doesn't need a stress reliever these
Isn't
days?
that honest goodness truth? Well, I was there last year and helped with the Glory Days, and the view is beautiful. And where they had the photo booth and taking the pictures, in the background, the rolling hills, and in the fall, the leaves had started to turn, just gorgeous. So it would be a wonderful Sunday afternoon to come out and enjoy yourself up at Phoebe Needles. Well, Inga, thank you so much
thank you for having
coming
me.
and sharing this. We want to reiterate that this Scary Things, Halloween, Spooky and Stories and Censorship is coming up on October the 8th. You must register by this coming Friday if you want to get your name in the pot, in the cauldron for this split pea soup and cauliflower and spinach with black sesame seeds, and stuffed peppers and bloody beet salad. You know, I love beets. And I did not know about gold beets. Have you ever had a
Oh, I
golden
think I
beet?
have seen those in the garden. No, I haven't. I mean, in the grocery store, but I have not
Well,
had
you
one.
must try them. And I had a salad that had the red and the gold beets in it. And then we found them at this store in Greensboro. And I bought some for my girlfriend, and she makes a appetizer with a piece of mozzarella cheese on top and a raspberry. Delicious.
Wow.
But anyway, thank you so much for
Yeah,
coming
thank
out early
you.
this morning. And we hope this is a success. And I will be there to help out and
Great.
bring something fallish to let everybody taste. It'll be fun.
It will be. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
looking forward to seeing
Well, we're
everybody.
going to take a short break, and I think I have another guest coming on to tell us about the cruise in this weekend. So stay with us, fill up your coffee cup, or whatever you need to do when we take a break, and we'll be right back. Well, welcome back to Rise and Shine. Hope you filled up that coffee cup or taking care of whatever you needed to on the break. We have another guest with us this morning. We're so glad to welcome him back, and he's going to tell us about something that's coming up this weekend. We have so much going on right here in Franklin County, so I'm going to let him introduce himself, and then we will hear about this. I love it. I love what's going on Saturday. So I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell us about what's coming up.
Good morning. My name is Ronald Campbell. I'm the president of Cruising Rocky Mount, and we've got a big day Saturday, but we've got a big October. Cruising Rocky Mount begins 8 o'clock Saturday morning with our swap meet. We have a swap meet that is held at the Franklin County High School. We do not charge for people to come and set up for the swap meet. We asked if you want to make a donation. We will gladly take a donation because everything that we do goes right back into our kids in Franklin County. We help the schools in every way we can. That swap meet will go from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.
All right, now I'm kind of green on that. Tell me what a swap meet is.
Swap meet is where guys and gals go into their garages or out in the woods and find all the parts that they've got that they need to sell, and they load them up and bring them to Franklin County High School and sell their parts. And a lot of people that are restoring cars are looking for original parts, and they can find original parts there at the swap meet.
That's wonderful. Now, this will be in the parking lot there in front of the stadium?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because you got several parking lots.
Yes.
I always like to tell who, where, when, what. And how to
As
find
it
it.
was when I was in school, that's considered the west parking lot, but I've been told recently that they've changed it to the Law parking lot.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I'm trying to kind of showing my not so much youth anymore that I remember it as the west parking lot.
Okay, so if you've got any parts that you want to sell or maybe looking for parts that you need, come out anywhere from 8 to 3 p.m. at Franklin County High School. And are there going to be like any refreshments there for people or no?
Rocky Mount Smokehouse typically opens for breakfast on our swap meet days,
Okay.
so that people can go down and get breakfast, use the restroom. The Franklin County Eagles also has a food truck that they may actually have set up there in the high school parking lot as well. So we've got you covered in that aspect.
Okay.
But I also want to throw out that because they are our sponsors, and we want to let everybody know, if you don't want to go to Rocky Mount Smokehouse to eat breakfast, you've got Dairy Queen, you've got Bojangles that you can go to and get you a biscuit, gravy biscuit, have a nice breakfast before you come to the swap meet. We typically have a large crowd for the swap meet. Last 2 months ago, because we have them every 2 months, I got to the parking lot about 7:30 that morning, and there was already people set up ready to sell their parts. We've had people come from as far away as Stewart, Reedsville, Martinsville, Danville to sell parts, Christiansburg. So people from all around take advantage of the swap meet.
That's good because I love old cars. I think I told you this before. I had a 51 Chrysler Windsor Deluxe that I drove to college. Love that car. I would love to. It's here in Franklin County somewhere because we had it parked at my father-in-law's place in the country. He sold it and we had to move the car. So we gave it away. But love that car. And
Would
it
you
had-
like for them to give it back to you?
I would, but then I thought, and I would like to have an old car. And I see these old cars, and I told my boyfriend I would love to have one, but I can't work on them. And I saw a man that had a Mustang, and he bought it because he knew how to work on the Mustang. It didn't have all the computers, but I wouldn't have to fix something if it broke. So
Well, that's kind of unique because my mom keeps telling me she wants to buy a 55 or 56 Chevrolet. And I keep telling her, just go on and buy one, just go on and buy it. She says, well, I don't have nowhere to keep it. I said, we'll build a garage.
get a cover for it. Well,
So-
I'm not saying I won't have one before I expire.
Well, we don't want you to expire anytime soon, okay?
No, I don't want to either. I got too many things going on.
Got too much fun to have, right?
I do, and I do have fun. And whatever I'm doing, I always make it look like fun, whether it is or not. We went out shopping the other night at the Rocky Mountain Lions Club, and we would love to invite you to join the Rocky Mountain Lions Club. We meet on the second Wednesday in the month at Jose's Restaurant at 6 o'clock and do a little networking with us. I had a thought too. Somebody was talking about doing like a car show as a fundraiser. We might talk to you and see if you might like to do something like that to help the Rocky Mountain Lions Club.
Okay.
Because we used to have concerts before COVID,
Mhm.
and that kind of fizzled.
Right.
So that might be a thought that we
That's
could
something
look
we
at
can talk
doing.
about.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, so we're going to have a swap meet from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Franklin County High School Law parking lot, the one in front of the stadium. And they're going to have food there, so you don't have to worry about going somewhere. There's all kinds of places around, but right there, the smokehouse will be open for breakfast, and the Franklin County High School has a food truck.
Yes.
All right, well, that's all good to know. All right, so now let's talk about where these beautiful cars are going to be.
The cars are basically going to be all over town. A lot of people think of a cruise-in, a car show. We're neither one. We're not a cruise-in. Cruise-ins are where people come and they park their car, raise the hood up, and they just sit in a chair and they stay in one place all night long.
Okay.
If you want to do that, we don't discourage you from doing that. Our motto is keep it and drive. And the reason that keep it and drive is back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, even the 80s, there was a lot of cruising that went on in Rocky Mount. So when we decided to start cruising Rocky Mount, that's what we had in mind, was people coming out, cruising, socializing, seeing each other's cars. So you can start at the high school if you want to. If you don't want to start at the high school, you can go to Lowe's. We also use the Lowe's parking lot. We have vendors in the Lowe's parking lot. A ton of vendors has been showing up for the last 6 months. The vendors have been very happy. The car people are happy to see them. The manager at Lowe's, he's excited to see all the vendors out in the parking lot. But you can go to Lowe's, then you can come back to the high school. You can go down the Rocky Mount Smokehouse parking lot. Then you can travel through downtown on Franklin Street. You can park in front of Virginia Office Supply. You can park in any of those parking spaces along the street. Then you can make your way out to Schul's. Schul's has been a very, very packed lot throughout this entire year. People seem to like that parking lot very well, and we enjoy them being there. We have Dale's Diner that comes from Bonsack, and sets up in the parking lot there. We also have, if you've noticed, if you've come to the cruising events this year, we do not have Porta Johns this year. And the reasons that we do not have Porta Johns is because Bernard Healthcare approached us about wanting to be a part of Cruising Rocky Mount. So what they do is they open their doors, and they also have waters and drinks that you can buy there at the facility. But the reason that they decided they want to open their doors is to let people use their clean, air-conditioned, or heated restrooms.
Wonderful.
And that's a great partner to have.
Yes, it is.
Also at the Schul's parking lot, we have the Sandy Ridge Baptist Church that has come the last 3 months. And what they have is they have a Hot Wheels drag strip. And what that does is it gives the opportunity for the kids to outrun the parents, or the parents to outrun the kids. And you're not drag racing in the streets, and you're not drag racing at the drag strip. You're actually drag racing in Schul's parking lot underneath the canopy. David and the staff at Sandy Ridge Baptist Church are just wonderful people to work with. And the other thing that it does is it brings the kids to that drag strip. But not only do they get to enjoy seeing Hot Wheels racing, but they get told a little bit about the church, what goes on in church, and they get accustomed to what church is all about. So David and them are really, really doing a very good job with that. And we really appreciate them being part of Cruising Rocky Mountain.
Yeah. Do they provide the Hot Wheels, or
They
do you
do.
bring your own?
They bring a big tub of Hot Wheels. Now, if you've got a special Hot Wheels at home that you've worked on a
race?
little bit and want to race, you're more than welcome to do
Okay.
so. There's no fee. We've put posts for the last several months. If you've got kids at home and you're looking for something to do on a Saturday evening, bring your kids to Schul's and enjoy the drag strip. It
That sounds like fun.
doesn't cost anything, and nobody can get hurt.
Now, does this go on? Now, what time does so you've got your swap up to 3 o'clock. Then what time does the actual cruising?
Cruising is advertised to start at 5 and end at 9.
Okay.
But we have a lot of people that show up at 3 and start at 4, and that's okay. We like seeing cars cruise
Okay.
all day long if we have to.
Well, people bring their chairs and sit along Franklin Street to
Yes.
see them go through.
Mhm.
And that's a great idea. And out there on Tan Yard, I've seen chairs, people sitting out there to watch them. I think that's great. It's good entertainment. But I just love old cars. And every time my boyfriend sees one coming down the road, Joyce, look, and there will go a Model T or one of those Chevrolets but my uncle had a Ford Fairlane. It had the big long, he got stuck. Where we lived, there was a parking lot across the street, and it was Christmas. There was snow on the ground. And he parked in the parking lot. And well, it was a big, long Ford Fairlane. I'm not sure. Let's see. It had to be after 1960. I don't know what year it was. But anyway, he couldn't get it out of the parking lot. So he said, George, come here. Sit on the back of this car. I never knew how dangerous that was, sitting on the back of that car to give him some weight give him some weight. Thank you, Uncle Bill, to get out of the parking lot. But I saw one of those cars lately, and I was telling my boyfriend, look, my uncle used to have one of those.
And that's another thing with Cruising Rocky Mountain. Not only do we have the young people coming out and enjoy themselves, but it is such a pleasure to see somebody coming out that's maybe 60, 70, 80 years old with their 55 Chevrolet or the 3-speed on the column, and you see them riding through town, cruising, because that gives them something to do on Saturday night instead of sitting at home and working a crossword puzzle
Absolutely.
or knitting or watching television. It gives them a reason to get out, and they can show the kids, hey, this is what we used to do, and this is how we do it. And so the kids can learn from the generations ahead of them. So it's really been a well-received function in Rocky Mount. It's really blown our minds. When we started this in September of 2019, we didn't know what the vision was. We didn't know how big it would get. We didn't know how far we could reach. But our Facebook page has people from Texas, from Colorado, Florida, up north into New York, Michigan. We've got followers from all over the United States. We've even
Wonderful.
got a few people that's from Australia that are following Cruising Rocky Mount. So when we say we are all about Cruising Rocky Mount, we are all about Cruising Rocky Mount, but we're about bringing people to our little town, our beautiful little town that we love so much. I can't begin to say, when I go out of town, and I go out of town a lot because I go to a lot of different car shows, and there's been times that I've been in Charlotte, North Carolina at a car show, and somebody's saying, hey, Ronald, and I'm thinking, how do you know me? I don't know you. And they walk up and hold their phone up and say, Cruising Rocky Mount, that's how I know you. And so we're known all over the country.
What kind of cars do you have? Do you have more than one?
I've got a 70 Nova that I take to shows, and just recently was at the Super Chevy show this past Saturday in Rockingham, North Carolina, and I won my class. Then we've got a 62 C10 that we've been working on for about a year and a half. And then we've got a 2013 Camaro that is not stock, and you can't hear yourself think when it's cranked up. It's pretty loud. My wife, she was following me one day on it and calls me on the phone, and she says, I can't hear. I've turned the radio up. I've opened the windows up. I've tried to slow down. And me being the mean husband that I was, I sped up a little bit, so she had to speed up, so it got louder. So that's probably mean of me to do, but it was fun anyway.
You know what's bad is when you go through a drive-through and you're trying to give them your order and it's up in front of you. Yeah, that's kind of hard to do. I did that one morning. Well, it's wonderful that we have this here in Rocky Mount, and the I can't say distance, but the area that you're covering all the way to all these other states and countries. That is marvelous.
Well, and it is marvelous for Cruising Rocky Mount, but it's also given our community the exposure that we feel that it deserves. Cruising Rocky Mount doesn't just do cruising on the first Saturday of the month. Throughout the month of October, we have a lot of different stuff going on. We participate in the Folk Life Festival, and the way that we participate in the Folk Life Festival is we have a bake sale. And all the proceeds from our bake sale, we have cakes, pies, cookies, and Chex Mix and stuff like that. All of that proceeds goes into our Thanksgiving or Christmas fund. And when I mention Thanksgiving or Christmas fund, what happens is we go to the local schools. The guidance counselors tells us how many kids are not going to have Thanksgiving dinner. I just cannot imagine a child not having Thanksgiving dinner. So what we've done in probably the last 3 or 4 years is we get boxes. We go out and we buy food. We put a pumpkin pie in it. We put a card that you can only buy a ham or a turkey. You can't buy anything else with it. Then we package up those boxes, and a few days before the Thanksgiving break, we take them to the schools, and then the guidance counselors or principals disperse those out to the kids and families that are not going to have Thanksgiving dinner. So that's one way that we give back to the school system. Then we also are going to the schools and finding out how many kids are not going to have Christmas, how many are not going to have a present to open, and we always try to make sure that they have a present to open. We go out and we're not paid for any of this stuff. We volunteer all of our time, and we go out, we do the shopping, we get the presents, we wrap the presents up, and then we take them to the schools and they make sure the kids get the presents. And, I can't say how rewarding that is to see that you're feeding kids, you're giving Christmas presents to kids. But another thing that we're doing, and this is going to be talked about when I come back, I think we've got scheduled to be back November the 1st. I just want to touch on it for just a second. Myself and John Sneed, he's the treasurer of Cruising Rocky Mount. We were discussing, and John had a great idea. He says, well, the mechanics class at the high school needs some help. And cruising, mechanics go hand in hand. So what we've done is we've made the mechanics class one of our pet peeves that we want to make sure that we give back to them. So we're having a poker run November the 2nd. We've got 7 stops, and I'll mention those stops November the 1st.
Oh, and anybody need to register for that?
No,
Ahead
you
of time?
come, no ma'am, you
Okay.
come in November the 2nd at Franklin County High School. The merchandise trailer will be there. You can buy your way in. It's $20 a hand. If you want to buy 3 hands, it's $50 a hand. We have 7 stops. All of us Cruising Rocky Mount members will be at each stop. And it's basically going to be all over the county. We're actually going to slip off into Henry County as well. So we've got a good route lined up, and all of our stops in our route are our sponsors. So we're really looking forward to it. We're hoping if it's a rainy day, if it's a snowy day, if it's a windy day, we still want you to come out to the
Go and
poker
do
run.
it. Okay.
Because all of the proceeds from the poker run will be going straight into the mechanics class at
That's
Franklin County High
wonderful.
School.
That is wonderful. And I know what you're talking about. It just gives you such a good feeling when you do something to help somebody else. Our Lions Club does 3 families at Christmas. Now, we never know who they are. We never know if they like the things or not. But we know that those 3 families are going to have Christmas. And I mean, when we were young growing up, we didn't have a lot, but we always had something for Christmas. So
And
I think that's wonderful that you all do that.
And that's something that we all really and truly believe is, we've all been blessed beyond what we feel like we need to be blessed. And so if it's a way that we can volunteer and give back, it would just wish sometimes that, and I know I can't, but when I wake up Christmas Day morning and I know that those kids are getting those presents, I would love to see those kids opening those presents. But, we've gotten a ton of thank you cards for the things that we do. Just to give you an idea of some of the things that we've done this year, we provided 2 scholarships for Franklin County High School students. Might have been 3, I'm sorry, 2 or 3. I can't remember how many we did. We've done so much this year, I can't remember. Then we give to the Humane Society to take care of the cats and the dogs. And, everybody needs a pet, so we try to make sure they get fed. But right now, our really main focus is making sure that we raise our money for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But I do want to add, Lowe's has really worked really well with us the last year and this year. We You all may have seen myself out at Plateau Plaza or Kim Novak at Lowe's selling raffle tickets, and we sell raffle tickets during our cruising event. All of the funds that we raise with our raffle tickets goes right directly into our funds to pay for Thanksgiving, Christmas, anything that we're doing as far as the kids go. We have a raffle that's ending November the 2nd, $5 a ticket. Last raffle, we had a gentleman that won a Blackstone grill that lived in Colorado.
Wow.
And he was actually there on site that he won his Blackstone grill. So he was going to haul that back to Colorado. But this last raffle is really amazing. We've got a stand-up 60-gallon air compressor. We've got a 18 cubic foot refrigerator, and we have a stone propane fire pit. Excuse me. It's this last raffle's really just blew us away at the things that Lowe's has done for us, because Lowe's wants to be a partner in our community, and we've got a ton of sponsors that have really supported us and taken care of us, like Arrington Enterprises. They have been with us from the beginning. They support us 110%. And most of the time, if I call...
Well, you know, Ron, I'm so glad you came on here, because a lot of people think, well, it's just cars going through town. They don't know about all these things that you do. And I think it's so worthwhile that when you're raising money, and to let people know where this money's going and how it's helping the community and the children. I think that is marvelous, just marvelous. And I'm so glad that I saw your mama in the beauty parlor. I'm like, hey, can we get Ron to come on and talk about the cruising events?
And Mom was telling me last night, she said, you got to make sure you're there on time.
God love her.
And Joseph, if I could, if I've had a lot of people say over the year, we don't know who your members are. We don't know who your committee members are. And if I can take just a second and let everybody know that's watching on Cable 12 this morning who our members are. So if you see one of them out, if you want to shake their hand or give them a hug, or if you want to make a donation to help us out, I would like to let people know who our members are. As I said, my name is Ronald Campbell. I'm the president of Cruising Rocky Mount. Then we have Todd Carter. He's the vice president. Then we have Jeff Tuning, Fred Jamison, Kimberly Naidu. She's in charge of our marketing and things of that nature. Kim Novak, she takes care of all of our vendors, getting our vendors set up and stuff like that. And then her husband, Mark Novak. Then you've got John Sneed, he's our treasurer. Then you got Heather Sneed, Jesse Willard, Byron Witcher, Chastity Campbell, Dakota Campbell. And I don't think I left anybody out. And as you've noticed there, I said some people that are related to others that's on the committee. We're a Cruising Rocky Mount family, and we help each other out. We look out for each other, and we look out for the town. We look out for the people in the community, and that's what this is all about. We want to be a big family. We want to bring people in, and we want you all to join our family on Saturday and be part of Cruising Rocky Mount.
Well, thank you, and I think that is wonderful. I'm so glad to hear about all these things, because I didn't know. I said, people won't tell me. I don't know, but people do tune in to Rise and Shine to see what's going on, and see, then they can pull this up on Facebook too.
Yes.
So this will have far and wide.
And we have two different Facebook pages. One is private, one's public. I think we've got somewhere in the neighborhood of 14,000 members on both pages. So if you want to find out what's going on in Rocky Mount, we're always posting about that. But on top of that, if it's the second week or third week or fourth week of the month, and you're saying, well, what have I got to do? What's going on? We let you know all around about what's going on in the car world. So you can go to Chatham on the fourth Saturday of the month. You can go to Bassett the third Saturday of the month. The Outlaw Cruisers has a cruise in at Liquor Performance the second Sunday of the month. And then we've had what is called Cars and Cones out at Dairy Queen on 40 West. We've had a pretty good turnout, and then some days we haven't had such a good turnout because of the weather. But We've always letting people know what's going on in the car world.
Okay, now what is that website?
Oh, me, you don't put me on the spot. It's,
You can let me know.
I will let you know on the next one because I
Okay.
can't remember.
Okay, or you can call me, tell me, so, because I'll be announcing this for you again on Friday.
I want to think it's www.cruisingrockymountva.com.
Okay, sounds good. We'll try that.
We'll try
But
that.
what I'm saying too is they can go into Facebook and hit the magnifying glass and type in Cable Space 12 and Rise and Shine will pop up and this program will come on.
Okay.
So your people can see you on TV. Well, Ron, thank you so much for coming this morning and telling us all these great things that Cruise and Rocky Mount are doing for the community. I am just tickled pink. And I tell you what, while you're sitting there, we're running a little bit over. I'm going to do my few announcements if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Okay. I want to remind you of the Fish Fry Friday night at Ferrum College. That runs from 4:30 to 8 o'clock because the students are there. And that's at 445 Fair Mountain Road. And you can't get a better deal on a meal anywhere. It's your fish, another meat of some sort, your sides, your salad, your drink, and dessert for $12 plus tax. I don't know if you knew that or not. The cheer clinic that was going to be held on the 28th was postponed because of the weather. So she will reschedule that. And Lexi Hunt was having that up there at the sports gym at Ferrum College. That will be rescheduled. The Ferrum Flea Market is going to be this coming Saturday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Lots going on this weekend. It's free to set up, and it's right past Ferrum College. There is the parking lot, and then down that road where they have the farmer's market, on down there will be the flea market. And join us for the best flea market finds in Ferrum. And they're also going to be serving sausage gravy and biscuits and coffee. And they want you to come out. It's got vintage items, handmade, livestock swap. That's interesting. I'm like, somebody going to bring me a cow and trade for a cat or something. Antiques, restorations, and more. So if you want to set up, it says call or visit our website to reserve your spot. And that's www.yourferrumpark.com/events. That will be this coming Saturday. Also, lots going on in Ferrum. Ferrum's got a football game this coming week at 2 o'clock at Ferrum College. I can't remember who they play. I got the schedule there. If I could reach over there and tell you who that is. They're collecting shoes up in Ferrum. Donate your gently worn, used, and new shoes today. Help us raise funds just by dropping gently worn, used, and new shoes. Be sure to ask friends, family, neighbors, and coworkers. Now, this is going to run through October the 15th. You can drop these off at the Ferrum Market on Thursday evenings or at Cat's Hidden Treasures on Fieldcrest Road, Gracefully Rooted on Timberline Road, or Carter's Bank and Trust there on the main drag. So gather up, clean out your closet, gather up shoes and donate them to Ferrum Forward, because our friends of Ferrum Forward, because they're going to use these funds to help to develop this park that they're going to build up in Ferrum. Franklin County NAACP is going to present the 2024 Electoral Candidates Forum, Your Voice Matters. Opportunity to hear from the candidates running for our town and county offices. This is going to be on October the 15th. There will be a meet and greet at 5:30. Come down to Pig River Community Center. And if you need more information, you can contact Brenna Muse at 540-420-3349. All right, there's going to be another yard sale on the 19th of October, and this is going to be inside, so it will be held rain or shine. This is going to be at the American Legion building, and it says it's a one-of-a-kind flea market. They're going to have household items too numerous to list, iconic T-shirts, women's shoes, exactly 100 pair, brand new, and they all sell. They're going to be all sizes, teenage and adults, for $10 a pair. And they're going to have a special guest will be on hand handling the shoes, and comfy chairs will be available to try the shoes on. Probably got a mirror too, so you can see your foot. You want to know what your feet look like besides just looking down at them. I'm sure they'll have a mirror so you can look. There's going to be a Trump table, hot new item, and when they're gone, they're gone. This is something that the gentleman had created that was on the show, and if you get there early, starts at 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. So if you want to see what this is and get one before they're all gone, be there at 9 o'clock. There is going to be on Saturdays, October 26th from 5 to 8 at the Rocky Mount Farmers Market, promoting Safe Families Domestic Violence Awareness event. And this is, they're going to have children activities, community service partners, treat bags, live music. Franklin County Library Bookmobile will be there, food vendors. Just got all kinds of things. Costume, wear your costume. Now, this is on October 26th. I got a clown costume. I could probably put it on and put on my green hair. Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. That is the announcement that I have for you. And we will see you again on Friday. Dr. Martin will be with us from Ferrum College, and Rocky Mountain Lions Club ladies will be here showing you all the goodies that we're putting in a basket that we're raffling off to raise funds for the Lions Club so we can do good things in the community also. Again, thank you for joining us this morning, and we'll see you again on Friday.